What we rep, Lafayette, Jeff, Broncos, let's go. All cash, no brakes, LJ for L, let's play. What we rep, Lafayette, Jeff, Broncos, let's go. All cash, no brakes, LJ for L, let's play. What we rep, Lafayette, Jeff, Broncos.
Welcome to episode 27 of the All Gas No Brakes podcast. I'm joined today by two very accomplished individuals at not only the high school level, the collegiate level, and I would also say the coaching level at this point. We've got Clayton Richard and Reggie Love III here today joining us. Talking beforehand with you guys, I could not believe how similar you were. And this is the second podcast where I'm saying this about the people on. And I don't mean this in an offensive way. I would have thought that your two backgrounds would have been so dissimilar that it would have the only thing we would have had today to talk about sports. But as it turns out, you guys have similar backgrounds. And probably most impressively for me, you guys are both really high academic individuals, which not insinuating that either of you are not, but it just was shocking to see that, valedictorian of your high school class, two-time all-academic Big Ten, and I'm assuming you had a very good GPA in high school as well. Yep. But thought I'd bring you guys on today, and maybe you guys could talk us through, kind of like what your high school career kind of looked like, and then really what I want to get to the root of is how you guys managed getting into college, maintaining that academic, athletic endeavor while the freedom comes in, because I know I had some issues with that when I got to college and dealing with that. So, Reggie, maybe you give us your background and kind of where you're from and how you got here.
I got you. St. Louis, Missouri, born and raised, a.k.a. St. Louis, USA, because we don't like to claim Missouri in St. Louis. But my upbringing, you touched a lot on about academics. It was always academics first for me. Like, I didn't start playing football until I got to middle school. But my parents, they did a great job of making sure that I understood no matter what I do, school has to come first. Can't do nothing without the grades. So when I started to transition into the sports realm and get more active in sports, it only became second nature. Like, all right, how's the grades? Oh, he's straight A student. All right, well, good. He could do big things. So started playing football 7th, 8th grade, around that time. Once I got to high school, a lot of life started to happen, because growing up, I really didn't think I would ever branch out of St. Louis. So that's a little bit about my background, a little bit about my story. So
for sure. Let me just one question before we get to Clayton. If you started to have academic issues.
Oh, it wasn't no if.
Okay. It wasn't no if. Okay, I just thought I'd double check that. and then do you really think that, like, because obviously for the people that don't know Reggie, he was the 147th rated recruit in his class, the varying reports, but either the 4th or 7th best player in the state. Turns out that most of his teammates were also on that list.
Yep.
What do you think that your academics gave you as far as opportunities with colleges?
It gave me a multitude of opportunities. Like, a lot of people don't know I got offered by Ivy Leagues. I never really put them out there because I knew I wasn't going to play Ivy League football, but it opened up a lot of doors for me. In high school, I seen a lot of players that may have been better than me, may have got more opportunities on the field than I did at the time. But when you look at their grades, my grades, night and day difference. So I watched a lot of guys in high school, throughout college, they don't get the same opportunities, or their opportunities are limited because they didn't have the grades. So the grades just opened the door wide open for me.
I mean, you had, 30-plus offers, so it makes sense. And one of them was Notre Dame. Still sad as a Notre Dame fan that you didn't go there.
Yeah, almost. It was almost.
This man sent me a photo the other day of him from his visit at Notre Dame in the uniforms and stuff, and I was like, dang.
Sophomore year.
What could have been? When I talk to people about you, so first off, when you first showed up, I didn't know who you were. I don't know if you remember coming. I had no clue who this man was because I'm not a big baseball guy. But every time I talk to anybody that knows you, well, he's the only guy in history to be Mr. Baseball, Mr. Football. He went to Michigan, played football, played baseball. Not that this is a knock on you, but people don't talk about you being the valedictorian and carrying a 4.0 and doing those things. So my assumption is, I've met your father, my assumption is he was probably pretty strict about your academics and what you were doing as well.
I think both my parents were instrumental in getting me in line. I can vividly remember one of the first things they incentivized my grades, like really early on. One of those first years, I don't know what, second or third grade, when you first get the letter grades. Like, well, if you get straight A's, you get to go get a Nintendo game. I remember again Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the last incentive I got. So I got Donkey Kong, but that was the last incentive I got. For me, it was really like the work ethic that translates from the schoolroom to home to the athletic field. Is if you're able to consistently work, all those things will be valuable. They'll all be successful. So I think that's what my parents taught me most, or put the most value on, was having a strong work ethic and understanding that, hey, like that's going to translate no matter what you do in life. So if you're in the classroom or you're on the field, it really doesn't matter how are you working, because you can take that anywhere with you.
Okay, and then so obviously pretty good in both sports. You made the decision initially to play football in college. Kind of talk us through that recruiting process initially, because it's early 2000s. The internet's
Right.
not as prevalent then, and I'm assuming you were similar to me because we're 2 years apart, that you were still sending VHS tapes and or burnt DVDs. So
Dinosaurs.
and hey, no offense.
It gets worse. My dad would go to Kinko's and send out. He'd put binders together and send those out to all the schools. So
I'm not that old. I didn't do that.
Kinko's is gone in 2 years since I was gone.
We weren't doing no Kinko's. We had email by that time. So, God, train of thought here. So, you how many recruits or how many schools were recruiting you? How was that process for you back then? No shade to the other school in town, but they're not known necessarily as a football school. So how did that work for you?
For me, I knew I played 3 sports: football, basketball, baseball. I knew basketball wasn't going to be a future thing, even though I'd outshoot Reggie any day of the week.
No.
But,
Don't start.
but
I live in the gym.
I knew football and baseball were what I was better at, and I knew how the college system is set up. Football has however many scholarships. At that time, baseball I had 13, I believe. Like it was like 13 and a half.
And most of them got halved, right?
Right.
Yep.
You cut it because your roster is 26 to 50. Like at that time, you'd bring in as many kids as you could. So I knew even if I wanted to play baseball moving forward, I was going to go to a school predicated on my choice for football.
Okay.
And it also made my recruiting easier because I just eliminated that. Like I wasn't going to spend a lot of time on the baseball program because I was going to play football. I wanted to play baseball as well. And that was what I talked to the coaches that would come in and recruit was, hey, I play both sports. I want to continue to play both sports as long as I can. Would you afford me that opportunity if I came to your school? And so you referenced Purdue. Really, the difference between Michigan, I ended up going to Michigan, and Purdue, which was another top one, was Purdue didn't recruit me as heavily. Like they were right here. From my perspective, I was like, they're right here. Yeah. And Coach Tiller never came to our school. Coach Carr's been to the school. He sent guys to watch my baseball games. They come to my basketball games. Like they're doing all this. And so in my teenage mindset, I was like, well, Michigan just wants me more. Why would I not go to the school that wants me more?
Right.
Looking back, Michigan's just better at recruiting than Purdue.
Right. Yeah.
They didn't necessarily want me more, but they knew how to recruit me better.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like going through that process, really it was where did I think was going to be the best opportunity for myself to develop as a quarterback? Because in my mind at that time, I was like, I want to be an NFL quarterback. I want to win a Heisman. I want to be an NFL quarterback. Those things did not come to fruition, but at that moment, I thought that was going to be my best opportunity.
Yeah, and since you're the only non-quarterback sitting at the table. And this, by the way, Clayton gave me a book to read, and this kind of like making me rethink a lot of the things I thought growing up too. But I've never met a quarterback that didn't have those dreams of I'm the guy, I'm going to go be the guy, I'm going to continue to be the guy, and really the only way that ends is I get old, right? So I can understand your perspective on that. How did you decide running back?
With me, college, like
because you were a great linebacker. Like the first couple clips on your tape, by the way, in huddle is you making tackles.
Yeah, my first varsity position was linebacker. That was the first spot I started at. That's where I got a lot of my film from early on. I didn't choose to play running back in college. I still would have chose to play running back. I definitely wasn't gonna be no 5'10" linebacker. Probably what I get up to, 215, you know, so all of my offers, even dating back to my freshman year when I finished with my 7, all of them was at the running back position. Thing was, if you know ball, you really know, like, the traits or tendencies you have at the linebacker position, they translate. You still got to play within the box. Still got to be able to read the holes, understand the game of football. Still got to understand what the guards and the tackles are doing. So playing linebacker actually helped me better with the running back position, but I always knew I was going to college to play running back.
And then for you, I'm assuming you just quarterback was the position.
Right.
Like it seems like for most quarterbacks, they've always just been a quarterback. They always are the first guy to be picked for teams. They always seem to be the guy that leads the group first. And I'm not talking about in football. I'm talking about just in life.
Yeah.
That tends to be that way. Like I still, to this day, in my friend group, find myself like I have to do all of the coordinating and decision making. Like we're taking this trip to Vegas, and like none of them can figure out how to book a plane ticket. So like I had to coordinate everything because they just expect me to do it.
Yeah.
So did you just like were you just naturally that's just was the position?
I would probably have to give my dad, I don't know if that's credit or blame, like, because that's what we'd go out and throw the football.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was more about throwing the football, and it led to like, all right, we really enjoy this. How do I continue to do this? And it's like, all right, well, the position is quarterback, and then these are the things that you have to do. And fortunately for me, a lot of those went with my personality.
Mm.
So it takes a unique personality to quarterback, or at least quarterback at a very high level. Not saying I did, but I think you see those comparisons between the highest level of quarterbacks. Their personalities typically are all very similar as far as their leadership qualities, how they communicate, how they get the guys, and how they operate. So I think just with how I grew up in our household, and I love to throw, those things aligned,
Mm-hmm.
and that created an atmosphere like that. That's just what I played growing up, and it helped that my dad helped coach those like the 4th grade year.
Yeah, the formative years. Yep.
Like where you're so lucky. Like think about your guys' first opportunities to play ball, and so often you get pigeonholed into a position because you have coaches that are, well, all right, you can throw. Like they watch you throw for one day, like that's the quarterback, and you don't get another opportunity. So fortunately, I had those opportunities early on to develop and become a quarterback moving forward.
Yeah, and don't let these guys downplay this. They're both 1% athletes. Only 1% of high school athletes make it to the Division I level. So let's,
True.
You are an elite company as far as athletes that make it there. So let's not downplay that too much. So you guys both make your decisions. You commit. You're going to school, and I think the part that everybody has that dream, right? I want to go play college football. I want to make it pro. And I think a lot of people don't understand the amount of time, energy, and effort it puts in. I tell our football players all the time, I like to print off the spring ball schedule and hand it to them. And then they're like, oh, my God, you're busy from 6 a.m. And I'm like, this is spring ball. This isn't even real. This isn't even real. So if you guys could help maybe for some current high school players listening to this, or the parents, probably better for the parents to hear this. One, it becomes a job, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you guys continue to manage the academic success, the athletic success, and then really the part that I think Aiden H is going to kind of learn here in a second, the freedom that you're going to end up having because you only have 2 or 3 classes a day. You've got a tutor that tells you everything you're about to do that week. So how do you now manage that freedom and still be successful? Because both of you are still really successful going forward. So how does that happen?
I think for me, just to go back to what you said, I really never had dreams of playing college football. Like when I first started playing football, I knew none of it. You know, where I come from at the time, in my circle, around my family, I didn't see a lot of people go to the collegiate level. So when I got there, it was really a culture shock because now I'm adjusting to, all right, I thought I was working hard. Now I really got to work hard. Or I thought I was really like learning, having to pay attention to little details in the classroom, but now I got to do it 10 times more because it was COVID for me. So going into my freshman year going to college, it was a lot different from a lot of people because of COVID. So, like, I don't know. It's not the ideal thing, you know.
Yeah.
When we get there, have to quarantine 2 weeks, take a test 4:30 in the morning every day. So you start to kind of build a routine just based off that alone. And, I mean, I always try to tell people it's hard to get there, but it's harder to stay, if that makes sense. So, like, when you get there, getting there is one thing. But now you there with whoever in your recruiting class, like you said, they in that 1%. Now you got to find out, all right, how do I separate myself? How do I be a freshman and I'm competing with a sophomore who's going to be here for 3 years? How do I show the coaches or show myself that I could really go out there and do this? So you really got to make sure that you keep the main thing the main thing.
Well, and I read a quote from you being interviewed. You had 3 teammates, 2 that were there, and 1 came with you, right, from Trinity Catholic. Your quarterback.
My quarterback, linebacker, and then James Frenchie, wide receiver.
So they the big quote from that I read was that they kind of had prepared you a little bit for the football aspect, but also the academic aspect. And your quarterback, what's his name again?
Isaiah
Williams.
Yep.
Isaiah Williams had told you that basically academics will be as hard as you want to make them.
Yeah.
And so what I took from that is more of he's implying like if you go in and actually just do the work and buckle down, then it's easier than slacking off and not doing it.
Yeah, because it's harder to fail. It sounds crazy, but it's harder to fail in college than it is in high school. Because like you said, you got those resources. You got study hall. You got to be in study hall every day. You got your own personal academic coach that you go and you meet with every day who does grade check, who gets you the tutors all for free. So if you don't use your resources, then so it was. Like you said, and academics in college is going to be as hard as you make it. And that's what Isaiah told me.
Yeah, and not to pry too much into your family background, but did you end up being the first person from your family with a degree?
I was the first person in my family to graduate high school.
Oh.
Like, to not drop out and get my GED.
Okay.
So I was the first one to graduate high school, first person in my family to go to a major university and not only go, but to get my degree. So, to answer your question, I'm the first in my family to do a lot of things.
Okay, fair enough. And is your experience similar as far as the academic sides of college and maintaining that balance?
It's difficult, and I think that first year there's a shock. Like you mentioned, a culture shock. Like it's on multiple fronts. You're away from home, and then that comfort level's gone. Now you're competing in the classroom. There's a lot of it's not just on the field you're competing, but there's legit competition in the classroom to get right. And then on the field, I think that's what people you reference. It becomes a job. You got to realize like those coaches, like their job and their livelihood is predicated on winning and losing. And it's nothing else. Like at the high school level, we have jobs educating and teaching and everything else. And then football is kind of fun for the coaches. Like clearly we take it seriously, but it's a smaller part of most of their lives.
Yeah.
In college, that is their life. And so there's a shock going from high school where, to the coach's credit, they simplify offense, they simplify defense, so it's consumable for the player, and they can understand it in that limited time we have with them.
Right.
College, it's like,
Infinite.
good luck.
Yeah, you got a lot more time.
Yeah, because they have all the time in the world to make it, and they're trying to win at all costs. And so as a player, you have to learn that, and you have to catch up. And as much as you think you know about ball before you go to college, you're really in the infancy stage of learning football and what it takes to be successful on the field. And so that is a shock, trying to understand, like, oh, I don't just get to go out and let my physical talents take over, because there's so much to this game that I have to learn. And I think for me, that was probably the biggest shock, was like, this is a different world as far as what I have to learn to just be on the field.
Yep. I tell people from the football side of it all the time, I went from a high school that was a smaller high school in California where my coach's best advice was throw it to the open guy.
Man.
And then the first time, they talk about culture shock, the first time that you're in a quarterback room, and like you said, you're an 18-year-old in there. There's some guys that are in their 20s.
22 with kids.
And the first time the coach tosses you the marker and says, go draw this, and I'm like, the open guy is what I want to write on the board because I don't know any better. So that culture shock is insane the first time you deal with it. And I think a lot of it's just they're testing to see what you're made of and how you'll like, is that pressure is just as real as any other pressures, your peers watching you fail.
Yeah.
I struggled my freshman year. It sounds like we all had similar parenting as far as like my dad was no nonsense farmer, like grades this, that, and the other. And I got freedom and it was like, nobody's going to tell me no. Like, nobody's going to say this, that, and the other. And I struggled. My first semester, I struggled academically. I wasn't failing, but it wasn't what it had been in high school. And, I got pulled into coaching office and they were like, we didn't recruit a dumb quarterback. Like, figure it out. Like, you need to pick this up. Because you end up having to be the example for the guys in the room, too. Yeah. Did you guys have any freedom struggles, like, when you got into college? And I don't necessarily mean, like, anything crazy, but, like, did you guys ever have a hard time, like, just locking in at a certain point where, you're a video game generation. You're just sitting up on COD all night or what?
I definitely, like I said, I went to, even with, like, COVID, so, like, my freshman year, even my, like, let me backtrack. My senior year of high school and my freshman year was similar because I was coming off an injury. Again, it was COVID. I didn't know how to operate. I didn't know how to, even though I'm in here and it's COVID, I can't be outside, I didn't know how to just go out and work. Like, I didn't know how to go out and work by myself. But that's something that I had to learn how to do, especially my freshman year. Like, I'm coming in, I'm working out 5 days a week. Everybody else working out 4 days a week because I'm missing times. Missing times on perimeters. I won't get into that. I'm still traumatized to this day. I still have nightmares about those. But it was hard for me to get adjusted to the workload, if that makes sense. Freedom, not necessarily, because I was always a boring guy. I played a video game, still played a video game however long. I'm still going to get up and go handle business. But the locking in aspect, working on my own and not having to have the guys with me or the boys, I have a coach out there with me, that was the hardest part about my freshman year that I had to get adjusted to. Because if you don't do that, like, and you only work out when the coaches ask you to, or when you got strength and conditioning, you're going to struggle. Yeah. You're going to struggle. So the freedom wasn't a thing.
Yeah, for me, I felt like the work component I was all right with. I didn't like to go out, so, like, I didn't like to be in those environments. That was never an issue. As wild as it sounds, eating was, like, the thing where I was like, oh, I can eat what I want, whatever I want.
So that definitely is a thing, too.
So, I mean, I remember, like, I'd go to the store and I'd be like, those cosmic brownies and Mountain Dews, and I'd put them by my bed.
Just
and
smash them.
Yeah, and I get called in.
No money
like,
now.
After, like, the summer's a little bit slower, so you're working on your own, you're working with the team some. I put on some pounds. And you get weighed, like, nearly every day when you go in. They're like, hey, you gained 5 pounds, and we don't think it's good. And I'm like, yeah, probably not. Like, all right, I'll get it right. Like, not thinking much of it. So, like, go see a nutritionist. I go in there, and I'm like, this is not going to be good
at all.
You start listing stuff out.
Yeah, she's like, well, what are you eating for lunch? And I was like, well, I don't think that's the problem. Because I'm like a sandwich. She's like, well, you can take out the cheese. I'm like, it's the box of brownies I eat before I go to bed. That's probably it. I'll just cut that out. But I mean, like, you have freedom to do whatever you want. And so those things that you enjoy to do now that are in check because you don't have all the access to everything, that you have to really lock it in. Like, oh, I can do kind of whatever I want. And now, especially for those higher level athletes that are getting paid too,
that's crazy.
I can't imagine that world they're going into, because not only do they have the time, but they have the
money and the
resources. Got the finances to do really whatever they want.
Yeah, it's a whole new world. But taking Bryce on some of these things and doing some of these things with him, like, recruiting's not what I went through, and it's probably closer to what you went through, but not.
Yeah, it's still different.
And but the one thing that hasn't changed is it's their job, and so, like, these guys even more now, because now not only do you have to make sure the recruit comes in and they have to be able to play now. Like, they don't recruit kids that can be developed. It's they got to play now. Also, you're giving that kid money now. So now if the kid doesn't work out, you were a dummy for your assessment of the kid and giving him money that could have gone to the next guy down the road. So it's the whole environment's changed. Like, it's frustrating to watch at times, and, like, trying to explain to a 17 or 18-year-old kid that, like, you got to understand that their kids depend on his job, right? That's how he feeds his family, is pretty crazy. So, kind of getting into where we're heading now, spring ball we're in our fourth and final practice. We have a college day coming up. Both of you have gone through multiple spring balls, either through high school or in college. Can you guys talk about kind of what the opportunity is there and what our players should be looking to do with their spring?
I think it gives you a chance to not only change your body, but to increase and harp on the things that you're not so good at. A lot of people that don't know football, that don't know about spring ball, that is it's not like summer. You know what I'm saying? Especially in college. Like summer, you getting your body ready, you getting conditioned, you getting in shape, you getting ready for the season. Spring ball, you getting ready for the summer. So now it's like you got to take advantage of those things. And even like the college day, like you talked about the college day for the kids. In high school, we didn't have a college day. And that's why, like, when I talk about my job, when I talk about coaching at Lafayette Jeff, I'm so excited about it because the resources, the opportunity that we give the kids. Only thing that's close to, like, the college day that I can think of that I went through was pro day, if that makes sense. And I was in a mindset of my pro day. I knew I wasn't a drafted guy. Could I have worked to get to there? Possibly. Hindsight 2020, I didn't, but it gives our kids a chance to not only have the opportunity to be in front of coaches, but to give them a shot of doing something that they possibly never been able to do. So I think it's a good thing. I think spring ball is also good. Like I said, it helps you harp on the things that you are not so good at without having to feel like you're rushed because the season is not around the corner. You still got time. So, and it also gives you a chance to evaluate yourself. You've been working out on your own, possibly. We get spring ball with the team. Some of these things my trainer been showing me, let's go out there and put it out there. I'm still not going to face the repercussions and consequences because the season is not around the corner. And I can still take fall camp or fall practices, summer practices to, increase my depth chart, my place on the depth chart. So
I like the idea of like there's got to be a lot of self-evaluation going on in the spring.
A lot.
What do you think?
I think it's a great opportunity to get like repetition. It's something that you have guys that anchor the program in the years past that previous season, so the coaches kind of get to see and evaluate, and the players get a feel for their new role. And so you have those extra opportunities for repetition, and you get to see what guys will run with it and what guys are not comfortable with it. And as coaches, you evaluate, and as players, it's an opportunity. And that's, as a player, all you want. You want an opportunity to be on the field. And so that's what I value as spring ball, is that opportunity to get on the field. And at the high school level, you have so many guys in different things. We have quite a few guys in baseball. So those guys that are in baseball that had those positions, other guys are getting opportunities. And it's, all right, what are you going to do with that opportunity? You're getting it.
Yeah.
Like, you asked for it all fall, and now you get it. How do you handle it? And it's a great chance for those guys to show that they deserve more of a chance in the fall, or they're not ready for it.
Yeah, and I find sometimes their mindset is, oh, well, it's Bryce's spot, so I'm just holding it until Bryce gets back, instead of the other way around, which is he's not taking care of his spot, I'm going to go take the spot.
Right.
And so that gets frustrating for me, and I wish this phrase would die. Nobody slept on it anymore, man. Like, I didn't have huddle when I was in high school. You didn't have huddle when you were in high school. The internet's crazy. There's huddle. YouTube. There's Twitter. Yeah, you had huddle. You're a baby. And these college days, there's no sleeping on it anymore.
Yeah.
We're gonna have 30 plus colleges, probably closer to 50 colleges from D1 to NIA. There, if you got ability, you got eyes on you. So there should be no more they're sleeping on me, this, that, and the other.
I think with that term, I think it's like when you look in the mirror and you look at yourself, are you lying to yourself? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because it's like, all right, if you put the work in, you get an opportunity to be in front of the coaches. Like, yeah, people have mishaps where you might not perform your best that day, but you get a multitude of opportunities. You get what I'm saying? Like, our college day, I'm pretty sure we have kids that have been through more than one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
More than one college day. So now if you going through college day as a sophomore, you still got junior and senior year. Mm-hmm. Those same coaches might be out. It might be even more. You just got to make sure, like, you putting the work in. And when you look in the mirror, you know exactly who you're looking at, and you're not lying to yourself. You know if you put the work in or you didn't.
Okay, so I got one last thing. I'm going to make it quick, and then we'll count down. We'll get out of here. I ask everybody this question. You are not allowed to say any of the sectional titles, even though it did break your losing curse. You're not allowed to talk about that. Give me either your most memorable football moment or your favorite football moment from either your careers or coaching, but you can't pick sectional titles.
It have to be coaching?
No, football or coaching. Playing career or coaching career?
I'm going to just go with coaching. I think it was when I watched Bryce score the kickoff return.
Okay.
And the only reason is because a lot of people don't know. I won't get into exactly what was going on, but me and Bryce had our struggles in the summer, and I had to give him the boo, had to sit him on the bench for kickoff return. And then, we had our conversations. He went out there, he started working, and then just to see him get a kickoff return and actually take it to the crib after all, the adversity that we faced, that he faced, the way he persevered, it was big time, man. I think if you watch the film, if Coach ever showed the film or put it out there, you will see I was very excited. I almost got sent to the box with my guy Juan.
You were like 3 yards on the field. We were talking about a little excited. You were out on the field.
Yeah, so that's probably as a coach for sure.
Okay, and I say football. You obviously had a long professional baseball career. So just whatever athletic achievement that you...
I'll give two, because I do want to hit on coaching. Baseball-wise, because that's why I went furthest in, I had come to a point in my career where I had hurt my shoulder multiple times, and like 13, 14, to the point where I didn't know if I was going to play again. And through work and through rehab and kind of everything, got back to a big league level. And I made it wasn't my debut, but made it back after about 2 years missing with the Cubs. Mm-hmm. I got a 4th of July start, and I remember walking off, like I made a quality start, we win the game, but get taken out by Madden like in the 6th or 7th inning, whenever it was, and walking off the field, standing ovation, like looking up at my parents and my wife, and I was like, oh, this is, because I'd never taken the time on an athletic field to like be aware of my surroundings.
Right.
And I think that was the first time, because I had been gone and know like it's
a fleeting thing.
Fleeting moment, this athletic life we're living, and walking off and like realizing like, oh, I'm back, but this window can close like that, and seeing my family like there at Wrigley, like it was awesome. And then on the coaching perspective, like now doing it for, I think I've been 5 years, is what might have been my 6th, is running into the quarterbacks and the players that we've had, mm-hmm. and seeing their appreciation for what we put into them. I know it's not one thing, but like there's multiple guys I run into, and they kind of like, I get it now. And just having that, a wise man once told me that they ask what type of team you have, and they'll say, well, 20 years from now, I'll let you know, when they're husbands and fathers.
You start to see the influence, for sure.
And I know I've only been doing it for a few years, not as long as you, but you start seeing those guys being active in the community and bringing value. And I think that's like the most fulfilling thing, and seeing some of those guys that we've had impact on out in the community has been like a tremendous boost for me.
No doubt. Well, if you guys could do me a solid, make sure you like the video, make sure you subscribe, and then if you have an opportunity to share it, kind of get the word out a little bit, that'd be great. So we're going to wrap this thing up. I'm going to get Go Broncos on 3. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, 3, 2, 1, Go Broncos!
What we rep, Lafayette Jeff, Broncos, let's go. All cash, no breaks, LJ for air. Let's play. What we rep, Lafayette Jeff, Broncos, let's go. All cash, no breaks, LJ for air. Let's play. What we rep, Lafayette Jeff, Broncos.